incident as the golden hour. Those first crucial minutes after a crime has been reported might be your only opportunity to gather vital evidence, to seize exhibits, and to trace witnesses and suspects. If you mess it up at the beginning, it's very difficult, sometimes impossible, to recover it later. There is nothing quite like it for focusing the mind. The call that sparked this investigation, however, didn't happen like that. It came late one January afternoon from a detective inspector, or DI, based at Merton. He was calling the Homicide Command for advice, as he was worried about one of his missing persons. A missing persons investigation can be difficult to get right. With some cases, like missing children, you know you have to throw everything you have at it in order to recover the child as quickly as possible. If a child has been abducted, statistics show that there is only a small time window before the child is killed. With missing adults, however, it is far more difficult. Adults go missing for all sorts of reasons. Maybe because they want to. Maybe because they haven't thought to tell someone where they are. They have greater means and motive to go missing than children, and, on the whole, are less vulnerable. For that reason, far fewer police resources are expended on investigating missing adults, unless there are very obvious aggravating factors. The story told to me by the local DI was this. He was investigating the disappearance of a young Kurdish woman by the name of Banaz Mahmod. Banaz had been the subject of an arranged marriage, but had left her husband in July the previous year due to physical and sexual abuse, returning to live with her parents in South London. She had subsequently started a relationship with another man, Rahmat Sulemani, and it was he who was now reporting her missing. Rahmat had explained that for a Kurdish woman to leave her husband brought shame on the whole community, and that it was common for the woman to be killed by her family in order to restore their honour. He claimed that Banaz's uncle, Ari Mahmod, had threatened to kill both him and Banaz, and had in fact already made attempts on both of their lives. Police records confirmed that 8 weeks earlier, Banaz had indeed reported that her uncle Ari had threatened to kill her. Uniformed police officers had visited Banaz's address and spoken to her parents, who were absolutely adamant that they did not want to report her as a missing person. They told police they were very liberal parents. Their daughters were free to come and go as they pleased, and frequently stayed out overnight. With that, the police had withdrawn from the property. If the parents were happy, surely there was no cause for concern. But Rahmat was persistent. He insisted that the parents were lying. Nothing could be further from the truth, he claimed. The daughters were virtually prisoners in their own home. The detective inspector and I agreed that there was enough to make us concerned for Banaz's welfare. The Homicide Command in those days were mandated to take on other serious crime at their discretion. Successive swinging government cutbacks had resulted in resources for local police stations being absolutely squeezed dry, to the point where it was a struggle to investigate even the most basic offences. The fact that their results were as good as they were was a tribute to the commitment of the men and women who made the system work. But an investigation such as a high-risk missing person, particularly one with multiple suspects, would effectively wipe out a borough's investigative and analytical resources. The DI was fully aware that without proof that Banaz was dead, the chances of the Homicide Command taking on the job were pretty minimal. He was just doing the responsible thing and touching base to see if there was anything I could suggest that he hadn't already thought of, 2 heads being better than 1 and all that. But I had been in his position, having spent 3 years as a DI in Lambeth. I knew just what it was like to cope with the onslaught, the non-stop tide of major crime, all the rapes, robberies and assaults, each with its own potential for complaints and community dissatisfaction. I offered him a compromise. Together we came up with an investigative strategy